Welcome to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
There we go.
Oh my
no,
goodness.
That's not good. No, that's
Holy. Holy. Holy.
Watch out. Watch out. That's...
Holy. Holy. Holy.
Looks like everything's going off.
Did you feel the heat?
Oh no.
Look at everything. Holy. Holy. Holy.
Man, oh man, that lady needs to expand her vocabulary. I am sorry for all the edits. I tried to keep the actual sound of the explosion in there so I couldn't just remove all the audio. This just happened a few nights ago apparently, and they're saying that no one got injured in this explosion, but I find that kinda hard to believe. I'm not claiming that they're lying, but if someone did get hurt, I'm pretty sure they would try to keep that quiet. They don't want us to think that there's any risk involved in getting on one of those things. And I saw reports that people were having their windows rattled from 20 miles away, and all of South Texas thought they were under attack, which was some pretty unfortunate timing considering World War III looks like it's about to pop off.
Documentary TV reporter filming a special on the paranormal is possessed by a spirit who haunts the bridge. The spirit of a woman who self-deleted after losing her husband in the Second World War and her infant son to tuberculosis, stands against the handrail looking out into the deep darkness of the night. It is said if you bring red shoes, you will be taken over by her spirit. Watch this.
おーい、やめろって。何やってんだよ。勘弁してよ。みどりちゃん。みかみちゃんみかみちゃんみかみちゃんみかみちゃん
I tried to verify this, but I couldn't find the original clip. But I did find there are a ton of South Korean films based off some variation of this idea. And it doesn't say in the description of the video where this video was filmed at, but what I could see of this lady's pixelated face and the language that I was hearing in the video makes it sound like it's possible that it's from South Korea. Although I'm not super familiar with what that language sounds like. It looks like the idea of a possessed pair of red shoes is a fairly popular idea. I don't know that I believe this girl was actually possessed, but I 100% believe in the concept of play stupid games, win stupid prizes. This one would be super easy to fake, but it certainly seemed like her cameraman was buying it. What do y'all think? Hey, don't forget to click like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com.
China, they're on it's called the dark side of the moon, which basically means it's the side of the moon that we can't observe from Earth, from India and China. But China, they've been collecting samples already and sending it to Earth, but they found this brand new material, chungastite. And it's this clear crystal, and it's colorless, but it contains this element called helium-3 that it's produced by the sun. So the sun produces it, and since the moon doesn't have an atmosphere, it just just has been collecting on the moon, but it's this element. You can use it to create unlimited, clean, radiation-free energy.
Oh, so they're going to be mining the moon now.
They're going to be mining the moon. China's like, they're ahead of the game. We were talking about like mining the ocean floor. Probably shouldn't be mining the moon either.
No.
I mean, that could be the start of the next war.
Besides helium-3, the composite material, like the soil, the rocks and stuff, it's the same material that we have on Earth. So it's like made up of the same elements and stuff.
Except for this helium-3.
Yeah, because there's no atmosphere, so the sun can put helium-3 there. But it's like, it's basically like a part of the Earth. What if the hollow Earth is just God took out the center of the Earth and made it the moon?
That's a fun theory.
It's a theory, it's a fact.
What do y'all think about this? Personally, I don't think this will ever come to fruition. When you read up on this, they talk about going back up there in 2026 to scan and look for this stuff. They claim that they've discovered it, but they don't really know how much is up there. They're just guesstimating like with everything else. They may complete those scans in 2026 and discover that they've wasted a bunch of time and money for something that's not even there. And when you read the details of their plans for their mining operation, they intend to do the entire thing with robots. It's 100% planned out as all unmanned missions. I think that's a pretty big clue right there that if they are sending stuff to the moon, they can't put people on it because you can't send men through the Van Allen radiation belt. However, I don't believe that they've even been to the moon. Where's the 4K video footage of the dark side of the moon? If they had that, they would release it to shut all of us conspiracy theorists up. But they don't have it. All they've given us is a clearly computer-generated image back in 2020 without a single star in the sky so that we could confirm its validity.
Our journey across the paranormal borderline is nearly over. But before we go, we'd like to present this story. We recently received an anonymous letter in the mail. We received many letters like this, but this one provided enough information to warrant further study. It told the story of a worker who appeared to have been abducted by aliens. The letter was accompanied by a tape which allegedly shows the abduction. Here is the tape. There are 4 black and white pictures. In the top right quadrant, a worker walks right to left through a gate. He disappears here in a flash of light at 11:16 p.m. The tape continued to run normally until almost 2 hours later. Then the victim reappears in a second flash of light, now in a fetal position. Then moments later, now crouching, he vomits, and seconds later, staggers right to left, out of frame. According to the author of the letter, the footage was copied from a surveillance system. He reports that soon after the incident, the victim abruptly quit his job and moved away. The letter writer claims that the tape is valuable and expects to be paid for it. We provided it to some experts for their analysis. Yvonne Smith is a well-known hypnotherapist and UFO researcher. She chairs a support group that counsels abductees. The stories her patients tell bear a striking similarity to the incident on the tape, particularly the victim's disorientation.
I work with many people that they suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Something happened to them, externally happened to them, that they don't maybe quite remember, but they know they became ill. They know that, they came back and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and what happened? I just opened the gate and it was 11:15, and then next thing I remember, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm sick to my stomach.
What happens during the missing time? Abductees claim they've been rendered immobile, transported to a craft, confronted by alien creatures, and taken to an operating room where the real terror begins.
Sperm is taken, ova is taken. I mean, there's a variety of experiments or examinations that take place during the course of an abduction. If during the course of what's happening to them, if they are being given medication, it's no wonder these people are ill.
Is this tape the first photographic evidence of the abduction phenomenon? Bill Schneed holds a PhD in criminology and psychology. As an investigative research analyst, he creates and cracks security systems. According to his preliminary investigation, little conclusive evidence can be drawn from the footage, and yet he believes that it's authentic.
I think if someone was to create this type of thing, it would have been much more professionally done. I think that the individual who submitted this simply took advantage of some electrical disturbances or disturbances that we have yet to discover that surrounded this day, and is trying to capitalize on it. But it does appear to be an authentic video.
Both experts agree on one thing. If there is no explanation for the flashes and missing time, the tape may be a major breakthrough in abduction research. And for Smith, it could be the proof that validates millions of abduction claims.
This is what we've been waiting for, something that we could get our hands on and say, well, look, we got the time here. There's a flashlight, the power surge, look at this whole thing. It's everything went out, you know, and then the guy comes back, it's 2 hours later. Hey, he had 2 hours of missing time. That's not unusual. We have cases upon cases like this. And when here we have it on tape, you know, then if we could interview the guy, if I could do some hypnosis, some therapy with him and see what happened in those 2 hours of missing time, well, we can really put a fantastic case together.
Unless more information surfaces, no one can know if this was a real abduction. But researchers like Bud Hopkins, who's been a leader in the field for over 20 years, are more interested in the impact on the victim than the veracity of the footage. Because if aliens were involved, this individual is out in the world, suffering, and needs help.
The damage that's done to the psyche of those people is just incredible. And when they are put together with other people who have had the same kinds of experiences, there's such a sense. One woman said to me, it's like finding family. It's like being home. It's realizing that I'm not crazy, that these impossible experiences seem to have happened to other people. I feel enormously relieved.
We urge the author of the letter and the man in the tape to contact us. Clearly, this is a case that needs more investigation.
I know there are mixed opinions about what these aliens are, and I've been convinced for quite a while that we're not dealing with aliens, but with biblical demons. And don't worry, there are plenty in the comments who regularly remind me that they do not agree with me. I know that we're not all thinking that. However, working off that idea, since it is where my mind is, what purpose would they have for abducting us? If these are demons, then they've been here all along. They likely know everything there is to know about the human body. They couldn't possibly be doing experiments still to try to learn our biology. I'm just saying, if that's what we're dealing with, I'm sure they've got all that figured out. The only thing that I can think of that makes sense, especially whenever you take into account all the people who claim that they've had extracted from them, is that they're impregnating people for some reason or doing DNA experiments. Maybe they're trying to develop specific bloodlines that are easier to possess. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've got all this figured out. I'm just thinking out loud. But them still doing experiments because they're trying to figure out how our bodies work just doesn't make any sense.
The backstory to the World's Fairs is ridiculous anyway. One of my favourites is Crystal Palace in London. That one's fantastic because the architect behind that won the contract by entering a competition. But 2 weeks after the competition winner was announced, he was on site building it. And they're incredible.
Supposedly there was 2 crystal palaces. And one of them, they built it for one of these fairs, and then they took it apart and rebuilt it somewhere else. And you're thinking, like, what kind of ridiculous story do they want us to believe? Because you don't have mass production of glass. Like, even if you did, these things are not standard glass panels. It's like obviously very unique to this building. So like, how could they produce this much glass in this short amount of time? And then again, you're talking about taking this apart. It's made of glass. So how much of it would have been broken in transportation and trying to carefully demolish this place? I think, was it one of them, there was like a full grown tree in it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they built around the tree, and it's nonsense. And you're quite right. I mean, you look at the logistics involved in the transportation of that glass today. I mean, how many trucks are we talking about there? What size factory would you need? The skill, how many glaziers do you need to do that? How long do you think that would take to build? And they've always got these sort of very short build times of a year, sometimes even less than that. But to take one down, and then we're talking horse and buggy again, or horse and cart, we're transporting all of that glass just a few miles up the road, and then we're going to build something almost identical. Where I'm sat with this is that they were both there. There were 2 crystal palaces. There were crystal palaces in other countries. To actually destroy something like that, I just cannot believe that anybody out there would do that. And they did. And not just once. They all had these fires, didn't they? Or were demolished.
I got really excited whenever I came across this, but after digging into it, I now have mixed feelings. The excuse that they gave for the speed of the construction does kind of make sense. They say that they held this design competition and that they accumulated about 245 entries, but none of them made the cut. I'm sorry for the red eyes. I've got something catching my throat or something, and I keep coughing up a lung. Then they ended up settling on this design made by a guy who designed greenhouses for a living because he wanted to use all prefabricated glass and iron, which would make the building time shorter. This sounds logical. However, this was built in 1850, and when you look up the date that glass was first mass manufactured, specifically sheets of glass for windows, that didn't happen until 1916 with the Pilkington drawn sheet process. So their story about using mass manufactured glass panels, it's a lie. Now, I don't know what the real story is with this building, but it's clearly not the one they're giving us.
Bet you didn't see this.
What's happened in the last 23 years? A disgrace. I personally investigated the Oklahoma City bombing case. Huge cover-up. Jack Kennedy's assassination, huge cover-up. Bobby Kennedy's assassination, huge cover-up. World Trade Center, huge cover-up. Okay. Terrorism. They're using it as an excuse to take away our constitutional rights and our civil liberties. The Bilderbergs, the Illuminati, Bilderberg, New World Order, globalists are the element behind this. It dovetails into the satanic movement, and this movement has infiltrated into our intelligence community, the once great FBI and the CIA.
No, there's more. Keep watching.
School case in Manhattan Beach, California. The children there claimed there were tunnels under the school. They were taken into the tunnels and through the tunnels up into the trap door of a bathroom in a triplex next door, placed in automobiles and in the community. These are 2-, 3-, and 4-year-old children before they entered kindergarten. In addition, the children claimed that they were flown into the mountains where they were involved with adults in robes, black robes, chanting, candles. They talked about the brown babies who were actually. And in checking into this and researching this, of course, this was obviously a satanic ceremony. The McMartin family, who owned the preschool, they were tried of Ray Bucky and his grandmother. The grandmother was acquitted, hung jury on Ray Bucky. The second trial, another hung jury.
So see, this is why when people ask me why I'm skeptical of whether or not anything's going to actually be done with these people who are now in charge of the FBI and, you know, the government in general, and if they're really going to expose all the corruption, if they're really going to, you know, pry up the floorboards, this is why I'm skeptical of that. Because it's been going on for so long, and it seems like so many are just, I hate to use this term because I absolutely hate it, and I think it's been used and abused on purpose to make everybody look crazy, but this whole idea of controlled opposition, right? People that are put in place to make it seem like we have the ability to choose, make it seem like we have the liberties that we all want and that we all fight for and that we all, quite frankly, deserve as Americans. They're put in place to make us feel that way, and yet they continue to be puppets for a puppet master just like everyone else.
I couldn't agree with this more. I used to spend so much time watching politics and staying up to date in what's going on and all this political drama. But as time went by, I began to notice, like so many others do, that all of these politicians don't have any actual values. They change their opinion on any given topic every 2 or 3 years as they see a shift in public perception. None of them stand for anything. Most of them don't even think for themselves. They just regurgitate whatever garbage lie their party is trying to push. And they don't even care that we have video of them contradicting themselves from 2 years ago. I've reached the point now where I'll pay attention to what's going on, but I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure out who the good guys are. There aren't any.
Is Billy Carson the man that spoke too much? Yesterday, I was shocked when I saw his new video, and it looked nothing like him. And I'm like, this seems to be like some Kanye situation. We all know that when someone gets too close to the truth, they don't silence him anymore. They replace him. This is an image from an older video. As you can see, a little bit older than me. He has his wrinkles, his fine lines, perfectly balanced for his age. His teeth are raw and real, lots of things. Notice the small details. This was Billy Carson, the researcher, the author, the speaker, a man diving into the forbidden vaults of hidden history. So let's smash cut to present day Billy Carson, which is this image. And when compared to the old him and new him, something is off. In the newer photos, his skin is taut. His eyes seem unfamiliar. His tone, robotic. It's robotic, polished, almost too smooth. He used to be very passionate and sometimes the voice would raise and go higher and lower based on his emotions. So when I look at this, all I can think of is, did they replace him?
I cut about 4 minutes of that clip out because I didn't want to subject all of you to this woman rambling on, praising Billy Carson like he's some sort of a prophet or something. I think this dude is probably just getting Botox. He just announced that he's going through a divorce, and I'm betting his business is not doing so hot since the guy just destroyed his own career whenever he debated Wes Huff. The only people still listening to this guy are either unaware of that debate or they're just willingly ignorant. I think he's just trying to reinvent himself in a desperate attempt to hold on to his money machine. And he's back on the market for a new woman, so he's cleaned himself up a bit. And that lady in that clip goes on to say that he speaks differently now as well. But I think that can easily be explained by he used to have passion because the guy was actually buying into his own nonsense. But he was proven wrong, and just how wrong he is right to his face in front of millions of people. I'm just saying, it's hard to speak passionately about something when you know you're telling a lie.
Wouldn't it be crazy if there's no mention of William Cooper in the JFK classified files? You don't know who William Cooper is, eh? Oh man, I'm excited. This footage, if you can believe it, is very hard, or was very hard to find on the internet. Over the last week, I've seen it pop up now a couple times, and I was able to find a super clear rendition. I'm just going to show you this video because wouldn't it be crazy if William Cooper, former security analyst, went on national television on a syndicated news channel back in the early 90s and showed this video of what appears to be the driver, JFK, from the front seat. The guy's name was Greer. He was a special agent. Cooper's going to get into that in the video. Jackie Kennedy, after this sequence of events takes place, she tries to crawl out the back of the car. And I just kind of put two and two together. And yes, of course, she's panicking in that moment. But if you think about, like, she tries to get as far away from the driver's seat as she can as soon as the... Anyways, I'm rolling. Let me know what you think. This is wild.
Assassin was the driver in the car in which he was riding in Dallas on that day, and it was plainly visible in a film withheld from the public.
Now, you brought that film with you. Let's take a look at that if we can. Here's the film. Go ahead and narrate this for us, will you?
Well, it took me 16 years to find this film because it has really been withheld. And what you're seeing here is the motorcade on Elm Street passing in front of the book depository building. Kennedy has been shot in the throat, and Jacqueline is pulling him toward her, trying to comfort him, and she's in shock. At this time, you see the driver turn around with a pistol in his left hand, firing over his right shoulder, and the president directly in the head.
Here's a repeat of it, yeah.
The weapon, watch the driver, his name is William Greer. He was, in fact, a Secret Service agent. The weapon is an electrically operated, gas-powered assassination pistol built especially for the Central Intelligence Agency.
You don't see any puff of smoke from...
That's correct.
Because what you think is a pistol there in the right-hand corner, lower right-hand corner.
That's correct. It is.
Why is that?
Well, it's an air-operated pistol. It's pneumatic. And it actually fired an exploding pellet which injected shellfish toxin into the president's brain so that if the actual explosion of the pellet itself did not kill him, the toxin would.
Now, did you read all of this in the documents?
Yes, and that's why his brain was switched for another brain in transit between Parkland Hospital in Dallas and Bethesda Naval Hospital.
I'm on the fence about this one. I've gone back and watched this video about 30 times, slowed down and frame by frame, and there's only one thing that I can see that even looks like a gun. This white line here looks like it could have been the sunlight reflecting off the surface of the gun as he pointed it over his shoulder, and I'm assuming that's the detail we're supposed to be focusing on. But going back and watching that video frame by frame, I'm convinced that's just the sunlight shining on top of the head of the guy in the passenger seat, and it's bright enough that it's clipping the camera a bit. I don't think that's a gun. And I'm not saying that this is all nonsense. I'm sure this guy has other evidence that's pointing him to this conclusion. I'm just saying that what I think they're saying is supposed to be the gun does not look like a gun to me. And the movement of the driver doesn't look like he's doing anything nefarious either. He seems awfully calm for someone who supposedly just eliminated the president of the United States in front of a crowd of eyewitnesses. What do y'all think about this video? Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong thing and not seeing what I'm supposed to be seeing. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back soon with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at berry-stepp.com. Don't forget to drop a photo of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.